Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Doomlink's Live Hunt series. We are here in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, quite obviously. I do mention these things despite the fact that they are quite obvious, because at the end of the day, these sorts of things are conversational, aren't they? I can sit here and say, conversationally, here we are in 3 Ultimate, even though, quite frankly, you don't need to be told. It is rather late. I am not going to deny that you're going to see a slightly drowsier form of Doomlink than what you may be used to seeing. It's been a, long day of work, and I was technically intending on recording sooner than I am, but I'm not. It is outside of my control, or rather that was outside of my control. It is already, half midnight, do they say in some places? Anyway. 12:33 or 12:38 a.m. And of course I'm going to aim to do 2 hours, so this is going to be a bit late. The room that I'm in currently is a room that was not my first choice. I didn't want to play with this Huntering 999 person because I, on good authority, the authority in question being my personal experience, try to avoid hunting with people that are at this hunter rank in this generation of Monster Hunter. They are typically either socially inept to the extreme, or mentally or emotionally, sometimes both, disturbed. So, yeah, generally I like to avoid them. But again, this was my only option for the reason that option number 1, which I did pursue and then promptly left, was an option that fell through for the reason that the guy decided to post a low rank quest, not a high rank quest, which I would have taken exception to enough already. It was a low rank quest, so I left that room in quite an unceremonious fashion. I did not say hello, nor did I say goodbye. But anyway. Hello, Peaberry, and hello, Tal. Hello, Radishan and Manny. That's a few people to greet, and I've only just started. These people are communicating in a language that I cannot understand, but that's not really of any particular concern to me. As long as they are here and ready to hunt, I'm happy. I will be consuming a beverage today. I knew that I would be consuming one. I bought some on the way home. I didn't have a specific beverage in mind, I really didn't know, but this very attractive looking can of Paulana jumped out at me. The colours are not really being drastically taken out of what I refer to as a colourful can by the Chroma key. And quite honestly, the Chroma key is a subject of discussion. My Chroma key, which is to say my green screen and, the fact that I'm sitting here with the background being the game, it's not quite so perfect at the moment, and I'll tell you why. This is, an announcement coming to you. Doesn't matter who you are or how tight within my circle of friends you may be. This is the first you're hearing. It's the first anyone's hearing it, or hearing of it. I have a new green screen, ladies and gentlemen. It is not really going to have much of an impact on your viewing experience, I will admit. But it will have quite an impact. Let me say that properly. It will have quite an impact on how I set up my recordings, and it's just going to be a little bit easier in general. But because this is the first time I've used it, I haven't really fine-tuned the Chroma key. Again, I don't think you will really notice a difference, but if anything's sort of biting into me more than it normally would, that would be why. I did a very quick, muck about in the settings until I got something passable. Whether or not I can reasonably improve upon it remains to be seen. That'll be for me to work out later on. But for the moment, this will have to suffice. My beverage of Paulana will be consumed from a glass that is not a Paulana glass. It is a Weihenstephaner glass, or Weihenstephaner, or Weihenstephaner, I don't know, I'm not German, shut up. But the point is that, this is also a perfectly respectable beer. and that is the glass that I'll be consuming Paulana from. I almost had a Paulana glass. Yes, you'll notice that I can't speak properly either because it's late, and, you know, as I say, you'll be hearing a drowsy form of Doomlink rather than a peppy form of Doomlink. What was I saying? I almost had a Paulana glass. Almost had one. I suppose it was around 3 years ago. It was before the pandemic, I know that. It's starting to get to the point where you use the pandemic and the whole COVID thing as your point of reference. Before the pandemic, I had a Paulana glass delivered to me. Absolutely brilliant thing. But the guy who sent it, in quite an inconsiderate expression of laziness, quite frankly, packaged it very poorly. You have to be very careful with how you package glasses. What this guy did was he sent the glass, if I remember correctly. I think I've only had 2 glasses shipped to me broken, and this was one of them. He shipped it without having actually put anything inside the glass itself. Now, you have to understand that when you have something made of glass, and you have this big open space between what is effectively, you know, a thin rim, that is a huge point of failure when it's being shipped, you know, across the fucking country. That's why you fill it with something so that it's not so fragile. It will still be fragile, I mean, glass is glass, but that empty space, that hollow space, is a huge point of failure, point of potential failure. Sorry, I may have been in the way of these people and their little performance. I was so engrossed in my own discussion. Anyway, yeah, seriously, it was very disappointing. I managed to get my money back just through the post office, quite frankly, because the guy was nice. I was speaking to the postmaster at the time, and he was like, look, we'll give you the full refund on this one, but let the guy know that his packaging is crap. And I was like, well, yeah, okay, thank you for your flexibility and your willingness to help me out in this situation. But no, I don't normally stream this late. You are correct. I, as was mentioned before, am streaming at this time because this was my only choice. It was either stream at this time or not stream at all today, and I really wanted to stream today. So yeah, I don't have a Paulana glass. Wish I did. I've got this instead. This will suffice. First time I've had Paulana out of a can. Quite frankly, I am of the mind that beer should be consumed from a bottle, not from a can. I'm a purist in that fashion, but I have to admit that this is a very nice looking can. A lot of the European beers come in much nicer cans than what you may find here in Australia, and possibly in other countries as well. These guys are just going to have to live with me not contributing for the first 60 seconds of the hunt because I have a beer to pour. Oh, just the fucking sound of it is different. Oh my god. Is it still a can? Yes. Is it still made of aluminium? Yes, but the fucking sound of it, man. Oh my goodness. 500 mils of beer. Yes. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Am I being attacked here? Not really. How's the hunts? Well, they just began. You can see how the hunts are, gaming, because you've been here from the beginning effectively. As the notification would suggest. The notification which you indeed used to get here. I'm attacking the smelter for some reason. I do not typically do this, and I'm starting to feel that that's a bad idea because Darkwolf here, with his longsword, is just going to terribly reduce my DPS. It's not really anything that he should be ashamed of, it's just the fact that he's using a longsword. If he does want to be ashamed, then he's going to have to be ashamed on account of his weapon choice, not on account of his style of play. And quite frankly, being ashamed for equipping a greatsword would not be totally out of order. It's one of the reasons why I don't often use them. I'm going to aim for the head. I'm in the mood. I really should have used the Silesia Ender Axe, I think it's called. Maybe that's not the fully upgraded name, I don't remember 100%, but yeah, that was the Savage Devil Joe switch axe that I took quite some time to actually finally craft. Oh, why did I do that? What a stupid idea. Anyway, yeah, so I probably should have used that. Again, I discussed it briefly in... God, was it the previous part? Must have been the previous part, yeah, 187. I mentioned very briefly that it had Awaken Dragon value. Let me rephrase that in correct English. It had an Awaken Dragon value of 100, which to be honest is not really worthwhile considering that it already had a Dragon Fire. And what that means is that it gets Dragon damage in Sword mode, so... And I would assume that it would be effectively 100 Dragon damage. That would sound like a sensible number for a Dragon file to be. So, if I'm already getting 100 Dragon on the Sword mode, I think I would actually be better off just going for damage skills instead of Awaken. And that's probably going to work out better in the long run. So that would be my impression of that axe. I didn't even really get to use it before I'd come to this decision that Awaken would be inappropriate. At this stage I'm using a different Devil Joe weapon. I haven't even consumed my beer yet. I suppose I wanted to get straight back into the fight after having poured it, because that was maybe a little selfish of me to completely ignore the monster. But, you know, I didn't want to keep them waiting, so I have let them hunt while I do my business, rather than forcing them to wait in the Port Tanzia location. I wasn't entirely sure, by the way, whether or not I was going to have anyone to hunt with when I came online here, because it is a weekday. But it is a time of day which is better suited to Europe. For the love of God, it's really not. It's not the game's fault, it's not the Lance's fault, and it's certainly not the monster's fault. It's my fault for not having sharpened. So I'm going to promptly redress the situation. Can we... Seriously. But yes, I am using this Devil Joe weapon, which I do enjoy using with Awaken. Hello, Beta. Oh, it's good to have this again. Truly lovely. Paulana. That's a beer. Anyway, to return to the subject that I briefly touched upon. The subject of my new green screen. It's a roll-up type instead of like a fold-out one, if that makes any sense. Perhaps there is a better way to explain it, but I'd say that is sufficiently illustrative of what I'm trying to describe. Basically, it's a very standard green screen that I used to have. It was an oval-shaped fold-out green screen that you could sort of fold into a circle, into more of a circular thing, but in two pieces. And then it would violently unfurl when opened out. And it was really not very good, because it had a rim, it had this black edge to it, and it was also oval shaped, so it just... that little black edge was constantly ending up in shot when I didn't want it to be. I mean, it wasn't so much an issue recently, but I can look back on the history of my experience with that green screen and I'm left with the impression that it just wasn't all that good. It did the job, but it was a basic thing. Fuck you. I fully understand that I went in your way, or got in your way. It's because I was aiming for a weak point. The decent thing would be to reposition. It's much easier for you to do that than it is for me. Anyway, I'm not really going to get into that. Perhaps it is a little bit unreasonable of me to run into his shots and then expect him to change targets, but again, it was a weak point, so... You know, have some care. Anyway, yeah, this green screen is good in that it doesn't have this thick black edge to it, and it's also rectangular in shape. It's much easier to keep it in shot. The colour is slightly different. Oh, for fuck's sake, we're really going to fail this one. The colour is slightly different, so I had to organise my settings slightly differently. But yeah, I think it will be good overall. It's a very different sort of thing. It honestly takes up more space than the other one when I want to store it, but... Sometimes you just have to live with these things. I was intending on getting an even bigger one than what I ended up getting, but that bigger one ended up selling out. But quite frankly, this one's an appropriate size. It's slightly bigger than the other one in terms of width. In terms of height, it's considerably bigger, but what's most important about it is that it supports itself. The other one was literally just an oval thing that you would either need to have leaning against a wall, which is what I did with my old setup at my old place. I don't have a wall behind me anymore, so literally what I was doing was I was pulling out a fucking dining chair and using that to support it, which was just unsustainable and quite frankly ludicrous, and so that was the reason why I knew that I definitely needed a new green screen. It took me 6 months to get it because I think I actually mentioned the reasoning behind it taking so long for me to actually get it. I didn't want to get it because I technically already had a perfectly functioning green screen. Maybe not perfectly functioning, you know, otherwise why would I get a different one, right? But, you know, it was an improvement that could wait, and it did, and eventually I got a new one. It happened. It's not only new, it's also good quality. Oh, fuck. I committed the cardinal sin of minimizing the Twitch app. Now it's not going to work properly. Now I can't even pause the fucking video playback. I didn't even mean to do it this time. Oh, fortunately it's remained paused. Oh, for a second there I thought I'd have to actually deal with the fact that the Twitch app barely works, and yet still, for reasons beyond my reckoning, beyond my comprehension, has like a 4.5 star rating on the Google Play Store. What the fuck is wrong with people? I want to speak with every person who gave that thing like a 5-star rating, because there must have been so many people who did that for it to get as high as a 4.5. I want to sit down with every one of those people and just ask them what their concept of a good app for a mobile device is, because the Twitch app is not that. It's something quite below that, I would say. And Twitch as a service, I can't even make a joke. It's so repulsive as a service that I can't even make light of it. Levity is really most inappropriate when a service actually makes you scowl at the mere thought of it. Anyway, he says as he streams on Twitch, Twitch has got you by the balls, Doomlink. No, actually, I think given that I use it in the way that I do, I'm in better stead to criticize it, because I use it more than perhaps some of you, although these days I suppose a lot of people who watch Twitch technically stream as well, like those people who stream games but never talk. What's that about? I'm not going to expand that into an actual discussion, but what is that about? It's a little bit different if you're streaming to your friends. But Discord, for example, has totally illegitimized that sort of thing. You can just do it on Discord, no problem. Stream to your friends, it's natural. I'm talking about those people who stream for 4 hours to no one while not saying a word. It's strange. I mean, what are they getting out of that? It's just a different era of content creation that I can't relate to it. But anyway, everyone's got a different philosophy, but sitting down and doing a commentary should be what you're doing. Unless it's a walkthrough or a speed run or something like that. In which case it's probably not a requirement, but sure. You know, the game's only part of it. There needs to be a personality attached to it to make you keep coming back. And, you know, playing... Anyway, I said I wouldn't expand on the subject. But seriously, why? I don't get it. Oh, goodness me. Well, the huge stream delay that you describe, Tal, is pretty damn good compared to YouTube. Now, I understand that comparing Twitch to YouTube is not always that great of an idea, considering that YouTube is exceptionally poor. Exceptionally poor, always has been, quite frankly. But YouTube does actually have some things that are better than Twitch, which is almost inexcusable. There should be no element of YouTube that's better than Twitch, because it's not hard to be better than YouTube, right? So, anyway. I'm going to avoid these who's disappearing? Who's leaving? Someone's saying bye. As long as it's not the room host, because if it's the room host, then that means we need to relocate, and it may be a problem. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Well, Manny is going and getting a drink. Well, that's the way to do it, my friend. I've still got a photo that some guy sent me. Must have been when I first started inviting people to my Discord. And, yeah, he took a photo. He had his, like, must have been computer monitor, possibly television screen, can't really remember. It was, like, up high, and it was me playing Demon's Souls, and he was, like, holding his can of fucking... God, what was it? Some abysmal lager item, but I didn't care. It was great, you know. He was holding his lager while watching me on the big screen. It was, you know, that was the first real moment where I had a sense for human interaction with people watching my videos. It was nice. Which may sound strange, because by that point I'd already been making videos for 10 years, but that's a subject for another day. That's really a subject for another day. Let me shit on Darkwolf. Hold on, give me a second. He may be very well practiced when it comes to the art of arm wrestling. He may be considerably more adroit than I'm giving him credit. I'm going at, let's say... Oh, actually, I sped up to about 95% speed. I started off at 70% speed, and then as I was about to articulate the sentence, I went and fucking pummeled him into the ground. Because, I don't know, I suddenly had this moment of inspiration and decided to be competitive. There's a whole lot of French going on in this chat, and quite frankly, no, I'm not mounting. Don't you love jokes that just, you don't even put effort into it, you just, you know, you don't even, in the first instance, you don't even try to execute it well, and then second of all, you don't even try to make it funny. So, you know, I mean, someone will probably go, yeah, I know what he's talking about, but they're not laughing about it because I'm funny. They're laughing about it because they're having a flashback to the good old 4 Ultimate days. Yeah, do you know where they all came from? This game. When 4 Ultimate came out, you better believe it. All the French players came from here, or went from here, to 4 Ultimate. It was an exodus. And they never came back. Seriously, they kept going in a forward direction. They never returned. It was very strange. This game was absolutely overrun with French people. I don't want to say overrun like they were a plague. I mean, they just generally speaking didn't play very well, but... Which again, and I will take this opportunity to say this whenever I can, but I don't understand why they didn't play well. I could never make sense of it. There's no conceivable reason in my mind why... You know, people from a particular country wouldn't be able to play Monster Hunter well, but anyone who's played with enough of them, I mean, it is a demonstrable fact that most of them can't play well. I mean, we just had 2 deaths. We nearly fucking failed that quest. I mean, these are all high hunter ranked people, except for Dark Wolf, I guess. But, you know, we almost failed that fucking Morales, and this team... Anyway. That's another conversation I probably shouldn't, you know, elaborate on. But it's true. It's an uncomfortable reality. Anyone who's played with them at length can tell you that it's true. I don't know why, but generally speaking, they just don't play all that well. The Germans, on the other hand, oh my god. It's like the opposite experience. Your general experience playing with the Germans, holy shit, what's going on here? It's like they were born to play video games. I don't know what it is, I mean, but they just play so fucking well. Has nothing to do with the fact that I'm drinking a German beer at the moment. It's just my observation. These people seem perfectly content to sit here and have a social interaction that entirely excludes me on the basis of language barrier. But, yeah, I'm actually here for the hunt. Not for the... I really should hold my tongue. But, anyway. Uh-oh. I'm back with a very large cup filled with Canada Dry, isn't it? Is it Canada Dry or Canadian Dry? I thought it was Canadian Dry. Whatever it was, it's not something I'd be drinking anyway. But power to you, mate. What's the next hunt? Well, I suppose you people may as well read the French. You can get a taste of what I'm dealing with right now. I mean, I'd like to hunt. I am currently live. I'm here for your entertainment, but this is what I get. A full-blown conversation. There are no other choices. I have to be here and, you know, wait for them to get this off their chests, and then we can play the game. Excuse me. That's really that's very unseemly of me to be lightly belching in the microphone. Not ordinarily, it wouldn't be an issue, but I'm close mic'd right now. Like, my lips are practically touching the windscreen of my microphone, and I'm gently belching. It is actually repulsive and infradignitatum. Yeah, when I mentioned that I am recording rather late, I'm going to be lulled into a state of semi-sleep by having to sit here and wait for the next hunt to come. What you're experiencing here, well, what I'm experiencing and then what I'm dragging you people along with me is... With me to... that was an incomplete sentence. It doesn't matter. You understand what I'm trying to get across. What you're experiencing here is essentially what 3 Ultimate was in the past. Which is interesting if you think about it. There's probably no coincidence that I said that the French were at one time here in large numbers and then left and never came back, while simultaneously I say what you're experiencing here is what you used to experience in the past. I only just made that connection now. But, yeah, I don't think it was the French doing that in the past. Really, it was a community-wide thing where people were not in a rush to hunt. People were perfectly content to just take their time, and quite frankly, that was characteristic of old Monstander on a community level. I suppose this was the last game where you had that. It all changed drastically when Monstander moved to the 3DS, because when it moved to the 3DS, there was this sense of urgency every time you joined a hub. Quick, we must depart now! We must hunt immediately! The thing is, there's a balance, you know. I don't want to be sitting here waiting for 15 minutes, perhaps even 20 minutes at the end of each hunt for the next one to start. But I don't want people jumping down my throat because I'm taking 120 seconds to get ready for the quest. Lord, Zor, are you coming? You posted the quest about 30 seconds ago. Can you fucking relax? That was my 3DS experience. Admittedly, my name was Countess on that game, so they weren't saying, Lord? Lord, are you coming? People just called me Countless instead. People couldn't... They didn't know what the word was. They were like, Countless? Countless, are you coming? No, that's not my name. Shut up. You know what would be a real slap in the face? If there was no intention for them to hunt again, and they were having a closing discussion, and they're just going to disband soon. That would be really bad, and unfortunately, if that sort of thing were to happen, I would be standing here, wasting my time, unknowingly. Yes, well, if anyone does want to translate, they are welcome to do so. You can see it's going on like it's on fire. They're having a good old chat. Could you imagine how much more efficient it would be if they just communicated verbally instead, and then we could play the fucking game? That would be real nice. Part of me enjoys seeing this sort of thing again, but I don't want to see it when I'm live and want to hunt. What this also gives you an idea of is just how... It gives you an idea of the extent to which my live stream is at the mercy of whoever I end up hunting with. You know, if these people don't want to hunt, what the fuck am I going to do? I'll just sit here and wait for them. So... You know, and is it my place to sit here and say, can you guys post something? Like, they're having a conversation, it's not my room, so... I have to go along with it. I'm not so self-absorbed that I would dictate to them what... Even my controller has fallen asleep, I mean... Fuck it. So pretty much the only game that had reduced weapon numbers, which is to say, reduced weapon types, as opposed to, you know, not having had a weapon type yet. So what I mean is, you know, a situation where weapon types exist in the series, and then an iteration released where they were not included. Try was the only game that did that. Because... the switch axe was just so well crafted and so much more important than dual blades, gun lance, bow, hunting horn, that we didn't need those things. Switch axe was amazing. I don't know how much the development of switch axe played a part in those weapons not being included in Tribe, but you know, the introduction of a medium bowgun was not really enough to compensate the players who had played the previous games, such as myself. When perhaps in some cases their favourite weapon wasn't even in the game. What if your favourite weapon was one of the ones not included? That would be difficult to reconcile. I'm going to do it. I'm going to ask them to post something. Now, because the host is a Hunt Rank 999, we may get an interesting reaction, which is why I try to avoid them. The interesting reaction can be something as nonchalant as an immediate kick, and it can vary wildly from there, with the kick sometimes being the final event. Or I could just be entirely ignored, which is another possibility. Oh, I can choose if I want. Was it in my hands all this time? For goodness sake. I'll choose a monster that's weak to... Look at these people, isn't it? Alright, I'll post something and fucking pray that they join up soon. It was in my hands this whole time. What would be good? I'll use this. Silegia Ender Axe, or Silegia, whatever it ends up being called. Because I want to demonstrate it. And, yeah, I'll find a monster that's weak to dragon. Someone saying bye again. This is the second time this person has said bye, but I have yet to see them leave the room. Is this like a joke? Do they say it for fun? Do they say it to trick me? Is it an inside joke that I could never hope to understand? I don't know, but if you're gonna leave, get out. Please. That way, someone who is wanting to hunt in the community may get a chance to come and do that. Fucking hell. Yes, 2 Azure Rathlos is an option, but not a very exciting one. I think yeah. When I got the... You know what, that's fine, we'll do a rehash of this. It's not a rehash as far as any of you are concerned. The recording which I did that was not to be posted to YouTube, where I actually acquired this Switch Axe, was a video where I pretty much did the same thing. I got this Switch Axe, and to demonstrate it, and to use it for the first time, I posted this very quest. Rathian and Pink Rathian. Well, the thing is, it's happened a few times now, Manny, where they say bye and then they don't leave. Bye is very final. No emoticon, no puncture. Oh. Well. I guess it finally happened. But if you just say bye, all lowercase, no punctuation, no... just nothing at all, just bye, that's very final. But then they don't leave when they do that, it's weird. Okay. Lakam fuck. Hey, fuck you, man. Fuck you fucking talking there. No. I'm not going to take personal offense at what is probably just a French word that looks awkward in English. Lakam fuck just looks like I can fuck, but in French, I don't know. Oh, lakam fuck. That did not sound French. That sounded like something else. I don't know what that sounded like. I don't want to start guessing. The conversation continues. I'm sorry, I hope you all understand that I cannot control this. So anyone who has, you know, found their eyes glazing over and perhaps have now, because we do live in the entertainment age, have started seeking alternatives. Oh, this isn't fun. What else is on Twitch at the moment? Oh, hot tub stream. Yeah. Because there's been no hunting going on, I'm almost done with my beer already. These things have a longevity of like an hour in my live streams because I'm playing the game, but it's there's been a whole lot less playing the game and a whole lot more reading full-blown French disquisitions about fuck if I know. My worst fears have been realized. You people really are. I'm just referring to those three people, scum of the earth, wasting my fucking time, assholes. How could I not be, like, I sat there for 15, maybe even, I'm just going to say 15 minutes, to get nothing out of that. Nothing. A closed room. And I was even offered some form of salvation. They were literally like, oh yeah, post a quest. Post a quest, and then what do I get? A slap across the face with a metaphorical wet fish. Fucking hell. Like, I hope that serves as some entertainment, some return on investment. You guys have been fucking sitting here waiting for something to happen as well. Hopefully that was funny enough. Now I just have to try and get into a hunt. You can see that there are at least 2 other people here besides myself. So I'm hoping that one of them makes a room. If it doesn't happen, then because obviously the risk is that I make a room and then maybe one of them makes a room and then we're all sitting in our respective rooms alone because the online system was not made with the presence of mind on the part of the developers for them to realize that perhaps people would like to know who's in the room, like in the lobby rather, while they're in a room, because that information may be helpful, for the reason that I have intimated. I have said on many occasions prior to this recording that it would be mighty nice to have a second webcam set up, pointed at a wall, so that I could switch to that and promptly make my way over to the wall and put my fucking head through it for your entertainment. This is one of those moments where I would take great fucking delight in doing that. Perhaps not great delight in the experience of putting my head through a wall, but great delight in just at least getting some of my frustration out. I think I'm going to have to be the one to make the room. I was going to make a snarky remark in the room name, but I might not. We'll just do relaxed hunting. It doesn't have to look... It can be relaxed, but you see, the phrase relaxed hunting involves hunting. It can be relaxed, but I would like some hunting to take place. This is why I do approach any recording of 3 Ultimate with a little bit of care, a little bit of wariness. Sometimes things just don't go well. Oh, hello, you saved me, N10, thank you. I probably should have realized that you might be willing to play. I did see you in the chat. Well, savior of the live stream, everyone. N10 is here. I suppose you were one of the people in there. Yes, donate to start the Doomlink head wall camera. And here's Chaos Guard. I've played with you before. Oh, you're the one. You're the one with the Kelby deer shot. That's alright, I can live with that. I will post that quest again. That one that I meant to do before. Okay guys, we're actually going to be able to play the game. I hope you're all ready for that. Do you remember what hunting even looks like in this game? Well, you would be forgiven if you had forgotten, because it was a long time ago when we were last doing that. You would be forgiven. Thank you for the bits, Manny. That does seem to be your thing. I was quite content with just one beer tonight, but I'm actually going to need a second one just to get through the recording. I was in a position where really there was not much else to do than just, you know, moan, complain, and drink. So, there you go. N10 is using one of my favourite Sword and Shield designs of the series. It is the Exodus, as I know it by. I think it's called something a little different in this game as a G-rank weapon. I don't remember the name that they used in G rank in, for instance. Although, was it even in 2nd gen? I don't recall seeing the weapon design in 2nd gen, so maybe they first brought it in try. Anyway, whatever it's called, that's what it's called. Thank you, Doomlink. Your enlightening words have been received and appreciated by all who were lucky enough to hear them. I like how the Aptonoth was running and then promptly changed its mind and then started running again. No, I understand what happened. It needed to change directions for one reason or another. I'm not about to assume that I understand the inner workings of the mind of an Aptonoth. So you can see that I am dealing dragon damage here. I have not actually taken the time to equip an awakened skill. I find it to be unnecessary. I'm not going to rehash the comments previously made, but yes, this feels a lot more reasonable. I'm happier with this. Also, the purple sharpness that exists on this switch axe is pretty impressive. Not quite as impressive as what you get on Morales weapons, for example, but Morales weapons don't have dragon damage, so just how relevant is that comparison? Have you ever considered that? Well, if you hadn't already, then you have been forcibly incentivized to consider it, so I would ask you to do so, and then make your judgments forthwith. I don't know. I'm saying words. Was that me? Maybe that was me. I don't know. It felt like it was. It really did feel like it was. Yes, the Aptonoth did have to make a double take, or take a double take. Oh, the repeating of words. It was a good flash bomb though. Definitely an aggressive flash bomb. Probably thrown by N10 because realistically, a flash bomb that quick would probably come from a sword and shield guy. Doesn't have to sheathe to actually get it out. Oh, that was fast. Jeez. Oh, that's right. One of these people's using the Kelby deer shot. I almost forgot. For a second I thought it was actually a 3-man hunt, but it was instead a 4-man hunt, but with only 3 people. Silly me. Pay closer attention next time, Doomlink. I actually don't know where she flies down in this area. Oh, here. Kevin has visited the port. Hello, Kevin. That was fast. I will say hello to Kevin. Yeah, this is a G-rank quest, alright. N10 and I are dealing good damage, but definitely the effectiveness of the Kelby deer shot is part of why that was so damn fast. I don't actually have the Exodus blade in this game. I'm sure I have a worn sword and shield. I have little doubt. But I have not actually crafted that sword and shield in this game. I probably should. I do love it so much. Imagine not actually having crafted what one considers to be at least one of the top 3 sword and shield weapon designs in the series for them. That whole sentence was a mess, but this is a tiny pink Raytheon. Look at the size of her. She just fucking hatched. Little baby. Oh, don't ever say that again. And especially not with that sort of tone of voice. It was juvenile in a way that perhaps was intended to sound juvenile, but it rather went beyond just sounding juvenile because it was intended, but it was instead just a very... Anyway. You understand what I mean. I'll wait patiently for you to come back down. You can see I'm turning my body subtly to respond to what the monster will do. You know, the head does reposition slightly as it goes down, and then as she stands back up, so I was preemptively shifting myself to reflect that. Just to give you some insight into the strategy. Oh. Employing strategy at that level is probably unnecessary against a monster like this, but... You know, there are a lot of things that you do in Monster Hunter that I suppose you don't actually explain or talk about or perhaps even think about. You just do it because it makes sense. And I think explaining it can be enjoyable sometimes. No, that's not the direction I wanted to roll in. You fucking for real. That really was a dangerous moment for me. Well, you're either gonna fly away or you're not, love. She's dead. No, I'm not carving. I'm not in the mood. I'm still poisoned, but I don't need to worry myself over that now. I will actually go and check to see if I have enough earth crystals to make N10's sword. As I recall, the shield actually has this weird skull face inside of it. It's almost like it's within this murky ooze, for lack of a better way to describe it. You could also say it's like a portal into some weird dimension where there's this face looking at you, and it's creepy. There it is, look at the face, look at that skull. It's interesting. It looks slightly different in Tri, I think, and possibly also in Portable Third. It makes sense that they would change the little skull design. It definitely looks different. Yes, it would have been nasty. I would have missed out on my carves. Oh wait, I didn't carve after all. Well, anyway was the word I'd say anyway. My commentary. It's late at night. Give me a break. That is not my shortest pink Raytheon, but it is a Gold Crown Small. But yeah, some allowance has to be made for strange commentary at this time of night. It's not that it's extremely late, it's just that it's much later than I usually record, and I'm actually tired. Like, I've had a long day. It wasn't an easy day today. I actually spent a lot of it picking up that fucking green screen. I got up at like, I don't know, 8:30 in the morning. No, got up at 8, left the house I think at 8:30, went to the place where the delivery driver had delivered this to because I wasn't home when he brought it here, and the place ended up opening up at 10. And I got there at 9, assuming that it would have opened. It's like, you're going to open at 10 in the morning and you've got my package? Go fuck yourself. So, you know, I had walked a good 20 minutes to get there. Maybe 15 minutes. But, you know, I just wasn't in the mood to walk back home and then, you know, twiddle my thumbs and then walk back. So I thought that I'd hang around for an hour. But that was a boring way to spend my morning. And anyway. Sorry, I don't mean to, you know, regale you with something that's probably even more boring than what I had to experience in waiting for the stupid place to open, but yeah, it was a long day. And then, you know, there's Sydney train strikes going on at the moment, so I had a difficult time getting to work, and, you know, I ended up working longer than expected today for various reasons, and then, you know, it's been a long day. So if I can't talk properly, Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. Now, let's have a look at the sword and shield. That's not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to check to see if I've got the worn sword. What? How could I not have one? Do you know how many worn weapons I've picked up? Maybe it's not even in this game where I've picked up so many worn weapons. No, look at this. I've got worn dual blades. I've got worn hammer. Worn hunting horn. I've already got the music box. Why on earth would I? Anyway. For one reason or another, I do not actually have a worn sword and shield, so I cannot make that sword and shield that N10 has. Bad luck, I guess. These guys are probably waiting politely for me to instruct them on what to do next. N10, if you don't want to post anything, I will assume that it is open to Chaos Guard to post. Alright. Deep Six Devil Joe, that is another monster that is weak to dragon. Are we taking turns? Yes. It's not specified in the room information, but I see no reason not to do that. It is usually the most sensible way to conduct online play with people who probably have things that they want to hunt and grind and all the rest. What would be fun to bring? I'll try to bring something that I don't usually bring to a Devil Joe hunt. What would be totally unusual? A hammer? No, not tonight. Not tonight. Maybe a hunting horn? Would that be funny? Oh! Now that is something that I still haven't made. Although, no, I'm fine with the high voltage verve, I guess, but... I was thinking of the Abyssal Lagiacruz hunting horn, which I understand to be a very good hunting horn, but it might not actually. In fact, I'm almost certain that it does not have attack up large, which for me is a requirement of a hunting horn. Not for everyone, but certainly for me. Oh, I can't even see what songs that has because you have to upgrade from the Lagiacruz horn to get to the Abyssal level. You can't actually craft it outright, which is rough. Not Lance, horn. I am going to bring a horn. I'm doing it. I will bring the Stygian horn, though. The high voltage verve, while it is an attractive looking weapon, it's not as good as the Stygian Tristitia. Look, literally look at the stats. It's like night and day. It's shocking. Absolutely shocking. And no, the elemental damage of the high voltage verve does not adequately compensate for the lack of roar and sharpness at all. But it's the best I've got, okay? It does admittedly look nice. More than anything else, it has the attack up large effect. It's not about the damage I'm dealing, it's the way in which I support my team members to deal effective damage on my behalf. Thank you, Himari. I'm glad you were able to catch me live. I do have a style. Possibly not for everyone, but it is a style. And it is what I naturally do. I can't imagine recording things any other way. You won't see me sitting here in hyperactive and hyperbolic mode, shrieking my lungs out at you in a desperate attempt to entertain you. Rather, I will speak to you at a regular speaking voice. In terms of amplitude, at least. And I will, I don't know, comment on things as they happen in the game and also whinge, moan and complain about the people that I play with. Can be entertaining. Some people probably find it to be a little grating. I don't know. I'll stop it. I realise that I am the only person here, but I ask that you desist in your interrupting of my song. Alright, we're all here. I will play my attack song now. Have I got it right? But no, it's not that, it's the other way around. I know for sure that it... Oh... Is it that? No, it's not. I bet it ends on purple. That always tricks me. What is it? Are you shitting me? It's actually not what I expected at all. If I could check these things in the first instance, it really would speed up the process, but... Fine. No. See, very rarely are you given that opportunity to time your roll so well while attacking. In so many scenarios, I wouldn't have been able to perform an attack and then wait for so long after the attack was performed to then roll whenever I wanted. So, that was helpful to have that opportunity. That's why what I just did there is not always such a viable strategy, and I wasn't 100% sure if I was able to move in that moment, but I was, and so I could roll it. That's why I waited instead of trying to get out of the way as soon as possible. I was going to take a chance. Oh. Yeah, sometimes you can get pushed by the head into the attack rather than slipping underneath the chin, effectively. Hunting horn is a blunt weapon. It is one of two exclusively blunt weapons. I use the word exclusively because lance technically shifts from blunt to cutting depending on what is most damaging, but your two blunt focused weapon types in the game are hammer and hunting horn, which I suppose would stand to reason. What have we got? Knockback protection. Okay. Need to get back on my songs. I think... Is it this? No, it's not. You fuck. I really should double check this. On a better day, I have little doubt that I wouldn't be taking so long to play these songs. It is very satisfying to see Devil Joe fall down so much. Are you fucking shitting me? What is the song? Oh, it ends on... Well, didn't I play that? I swear I played that. Hand on heart, I fucking played that song. Must be going crazy. There it is. I mustn't have been ending on purple, I guess that's... For some reason I was playing it as my third note. Oh my god. Have you ever seen a Devil Joe get so savaged by the team? I don't know if there is a bonus for knockback protection. We're going to find out. There isn't. Alright, so I can now play... I have a distinct feeling I may have already played Melody Durations Extended, but it only works for songs that are already in effect. So I will play it again. And then I will sit back and relax. And by that I mean hunt the monster normally, instead of just, I don't know, hanging back and playing my music. Which perhaps is the pleasure of your average hunting horn user. It's certainly a hunting horn user's prerogative. Some people accuse others of corner horning. I mean, I would say corner horning exists on a spectrum. I'd say that it's appropriate to be close to the monster but not right on top of it and then play your songs from a distance. Corner horning, and some people do misunderstand this, corner horning is, by definition, an extreme style of play where you actually are afraid to engage the monster in battle and you instead just never actively contribute to the dealing of damage. You instead just stand back and play music, which is probably not the best way to approach it, especially considering that Hunting Horn was changed in Portable Third to disincentivize that style of play. Or to discourage that kind of play. I'm not carving anything. I think I have enough. and 10 is faster than me. But I'm too lazy to sheathe, I suppose. It was very scary how he turned so quickly to face us. I do have to play, at least I believe I have to play, an attack up song again. What's my damage? 1251? Yeah, definitely. Need to play that again. Oh. I'll also have to heal. Priorities. Well, that's why this monster's getting absolutely thrashed. It's because there's a Kelby deer shot being used. I keep forgetting. Like, I always find myself under the misconception, the misapprehension that we're actually just a regular team of 4, but actually we're a team of 5 with only 4 people here. Yeah. Because there's a Kelby deer shot. There we go. Oh, well, I'm going to claim that as the killing blow. I'd say that was me. Some of the best damage that you can deal with a hunting horn is recital damage, because it's Capcom's way of balancing the hunting horn to encourage aggressive hunting horn use. So if you're swinging your hunting horn as part of a song, the motion value is very high. I think the most damaging attack of the hunting horn, except for, or perhaps even taking this into consideration, I think the super pound may actually be the second best motion value. I think the best is this one. Could be that one. Or it could be that. I don't know. I can't remember my hunting horn motion value, and I'll tell you why. I'm not much of a hunting horn guy. I said it. I'm not a hunting horn guy. It's probably rather obvious. I usually, I'm gonna go and get another beer. I usually exit from this side, but with my new green screen I'll be exiting from that side. Do you notice that I always get rare items from Devil Joe? Thank you for the crook. I suppose it's only been a recent thing. I've only got, what, 10? That was my 11th crook. So I suppose it's only a recent thing with Devil Joe. It's his way of buttering me up, you see. Not so much left or right, P-Berry. Just... So if you don't actually move your analog stick in any direction, X plus A will do that backward swing. If you're moving forwards with the analog stick, or perhaps moving in any direction on the analog stick, you will do the pound. That's at least how it is with the X plus A. I'll be back in a moment. I'll be exiting from this side. Exiting stage left, which is probably stage right, because for you it's flipped. But... That really is incredibly convenient. It's just like I could just walk away, like it's different. I live in a different world all of a sudden. Kevin. Hopefully just by saying his name he'll understand. He has. BRB screams Manny in the chat. Well. Oh, that sound. Oh, fuck me sideways. How can a can sound so good to open? Are the aluminium cans in Australia just different? They must be, because you open this fucking can and it makes the most crisp, beautiful fucking sound. It's the sort of thing that Foley artists would have a wet dream over. Like, literally, a Foley artist is in bed and they wake up in a cold sweat and they're, you know, literally, they've soiled themselves and This is the sort of thing that causes that. I wish that I had brought it closer to the microphone so that you could hear it better, but fucking hell. Sounds so good. It's the European can open sound. That could be interpreted a little differently. No, I'm not using a can opener to open this can. Electric can opener. That's the ASMR of the can opener. Electric can opener. Have you ever noticed that Doomlink is exceptionally funny? Certainly not anything I've ever noticed. I should be on the lookout next time. Echolocation. Manny is back. It was extremely important that he let us know that he wasn't here. I should tell you that if whether you're here or not is not something that has any impact on either myself or anyone else in the chat, because it's very normal for people to be here but then not type anything, you know, like if I don't see you type something for 60 seconds, I'm not going to sit here going, oh, is Manny still here? Is he still here? Like, it's alright. It's a live stream. Anyway. What is the monster? It'd be great if I could internalize this sort of thing. It is echolocation with glacial agnator. So, we want a fire weapon. Or perhaps something else. I could always run status. Don't I have some more status options now? Oh yeah, I have some sleep weapons, I recall. I don't think I'll be bringing those. Do I have a paralysis option? I don't know. Well, I know that I have one for longsword, but I don't want to use a longsword. Here we go. Coctura balgang. Quite frankly, a word that looks so similar to ball gag really just shouldn't be used. Again, the wordsmiths behind the translation of this fucking game should have seen that word and gone, guys, maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't have a weapon called Coctura ball gag? Like, is that a good idea, guys? I suppose it's rather obvious, isn't it? It was intentional. It was intentional. I don't know. What about an axe relates to cocks and ball gags? I don't know. Sounds like you're taking the dominatrix route a little too seriously if you're pulling out an axe, you know. Is it dominatrix or dominatrix? I don't like saying dominatrix. It sounds like matrix. And that's just weird. Why am I discussing such things? I don't know. It's my idea of good conversation. And I must be tone deaf or something. Alrighty. I'm going to be contributing paralysis damage to this hunt. But not so much of it, to be fair. I think it's only 180. Yeah, that's not great. To be honest, this weapon is definitely more focused on raw damage than paralysis damage. The paralysis is just a bit of extra assistance for both myself and the hunters. Why did I roll with the worst possible timing in the southern hemisphere? That is the question of the day. Wow. There are two of us running paralysis. I really should have checked. What a waste. I shouldn't have brought this. I knew as soon as I saw the paralysis going out that quickly that I was not the only one running paralysis. I mean, it was impossible for that to have been the case. Or it would have been impossible for that not to have been the case. I couldn't have just gotten all that out so quickly at a value of 180. Which is really nothing. Oh, great. Apparently Chaos Guard is also shooting paralysis. That would make sense. That did come out so fast. It was like within the first 3 seconds of the confrontation. Sorry, Kevin. I don't mean to reposition just to hit you. That was not my intention. Goodness sake. Of course, the diving animation of the Argnactor, whether it be a glacial one or a standard one, is very big. Like, it's this really wide hitbox. One would almost consider it to be unfair. I don't think it's fine. It's not like it's an incredibly damaging attack, generally speaking, so you can live with getting thrown away, I suppose. I was definitely at risk of being flinched by N10's gun there, or perhaps Chaos Guard, I don't know who the fuck it is, but I'm getting flinched every now and again, and fortunately I was not flinched at a time when I would have ended up taking that ice beam, or whatever it was coming my way. I think it was the ice beam. I will sharpen up. Becoming a little bit too good at one-handing my controller. It's probably getting to the point where you guys are starting to wonder if I'm actually playing. Like, maybe someone else is playing and I'm just the personality. Well, I am playing. I don't want a super late night tonight, and I don't think I'll get one. You know, as long as I'm asleep by 3 AM, I'm sure it'll be fine. And I should be. Ugh. Sick of leaning forward. Sometimes you... Oh, for fuck's sake, man. Sometimes you do have to pay attention to where you've positioned your microphone, because occasionally your posture can be a little unusual, and you don't realize it. You know, you've positioned your microphone in such a way that you're actually moving just to specifically be near the microphone, but if you're like me and you have a proper boom stand, you don't have to do that. You can put the microphone where your comfortable, natural seating position happens to be, and then life is just better that way. I should mention that I will be trying to record different games. I do want to do more Portable Third, Freedom Unite, Freedom 1. I'll even try to do some 4 Ultimate as well. It's not that I have an issue with 4 Ultimate personally, it's just that it's not the easiest thing to record. It's not consistent, it doesn't always perform so well. I'm going to try and do some 4 Ultimate with Ethan. I'm going to keep it just between Ethan and I think it would be easier that way. But yeah, I haven't had Ethan on stream for a long time, so... Perhaps not a very long time ago, but I don't do it frequently enough. It's been a long time since we were doing it frequently, so... I'd like to bring him on for 4 Ultimate. And, I think you guys are in need of some 4 Ultimate, to be honest. I'm in need of some 4 Ultimate, so I'm sure you are. Yeah, thank you for joining, N10. It was definitely helpful. Kept the stream rolling after a really tragic turn of events with that French room, my god. I mean, that situation was just utterly intolerable. Just the idea, the mere concept of a person having to sit there and read a fucking unintelligible conversation for 15 minutes only to be abandoned. I mean, fuck off. Yeah, I hope you sleep well tonight, motherfuckers. Tarvo Show. N10 being replaced by Tarvo Show. It's like, you know, swapping out one of the 12 disciples for another. I mean, it's like, fucking hell. Glad you made it in, Tarvo. I don't know if he's watching live. I don't think he always does watch live, but he usually watches the VODs. Just for anyone who is unaware, Tarvo is someone I've been playing with for a fairly long time, on and off, in this game. Thank you, Manny, for your contribution. Oh, do we have paint berries? Finally? Thank God. I can actually... Wait, I probably should mention that Tarvo can probably post. It's technically his turn. Okay, I can finally get some more paintballs. It's about time. It's paint berry and sap plant, I think. How many sap plants do I have? If it's not sap plant, well, I'll assume that it is and we'll check. Oh. God. Alright, I think I was correct, yes I was. One would hope that Doomlink would know the combination materials for a paintball by now. Although, to be honest, it's not the sort of thing that you often combine for, is it? Usually you just have paintballs and it's not an issue, but I didn't have paintballs. So, I'm happy that I've got them again. God. Alright. We'll see what Tarvo has posted on the board. And, I'm sure it'll be something interesting. As opposed to something like Brachydios, you know. Midnight Madness. Oh. Look, I'm not a huge fan of this monster, but that's alright. It gives me an opportunity to use another one of my favourite switch axes. Of which there are not many because I don't like the switch axe. Oh, shock horror. What blasphemous enunciations are you know, assaulting our ears with, Doomlink? Well, I don't like the switch axe. I've never liked the switch axe. I think it was a mistake. And I thoroughly believe that Charge Blade should have replaced the switch axe. It's what switch axe should have been. Seriously. I don't like this weapon type. There's apparently some clip of me fighting a Glavenus which is noteworthy. I don't know what clip is being referred to here. Me and a Glavenus. If you told me when it happened, I'd probably have a better idea. Like, was it very recent, or... I'm being told to check the Discord. Well, I'm not going to derail the live stream by going and doing that, so... Oh, yeah, me being attacked by the Glavenus, launching himself into the trap, and because I had neglected to top up a cool drink, I burnt to death, technically. Maybe not burnt to death, I was heated by the location to death. Although I was close to the volcano, so I guess you could say burnt to death. I'm sure that would be very hot there. It was very funny at the time, and I still consider it to be funny. Yeah, I'm sure whoever actually wanted something from that quest was far from entertained by that result, but for me, it was perfect. Couldn't have been better. It was one of the rare scenarios where failure ended up being better than success. I do not use those words lightly. I actually do consider it to be an immense waste of time if I can't actually successfully kill or capture something that I have departed to dispatch. But I suppose for that quest it was worthwhile. The Dragon's Roar is a very cool switch axe, and I will use it when the opportunity to do so arises. I think there's some other ice weapon that I... No, I'm thinking of a different ice weapon in a different game. I'm thinking of one of the Japanese event weapons from Freedom Unite, which I made just yesterday. One of the problems with the event weapons of Freedom Unite is that they fucking suck. Like, you're literally having to forego damage just to have a cool weapon design. It should never be that way. Or at least if you are foregoing damage, it shouldn't be significant. But in that game, it's usually pretty significant. And that's just not acceptable, in my opinion. If you could relax, lady. I don't know if you've seen what this monster has been doing, but she needs to relax. Oh, it's asleep. Well, horn opportunity, I suppose. I don't really like the bomb being there. There is a risk of it hitting a different part of the monster, like for example the wing. Surely not. I could not have been the only one who brought bombs. How? Don't shoot the fucking monster directly. Goodness sake. I know you don't know Chaos Guard, you're only huntering whatever. Thank you, Doomlink, that was really clear. Anyway. Yes, as far as I'm aware, this switch axe is for 3 Ultimate exclusive, yeah. Doesn't exist anywhere else. It's from one of the event quests in this game. I don't know if it exists in... It probably exists in 3G. There may also be a Japanese version of this, but usually not. Typically they don't, in this game, create a Western release version of a Japanese thing. Like, they just don't do that. They technically did that with Sinister Saints again here, instead of the Pirate J axe, but, like, we don't have any Pirate J stuff in this game. But still, quite thankfully they didn't bring the fucking Lion's Bane back. I wonder why. It might be because it was awful. Can you believe that they actively avoided bringing back Lion's Bane, and then bestowed upon us Eisenfaust, that fucking atrocious greatsword, which quite frankly is even worse than the Lion's Bane. Now the true cutter sword I don't mind too much because at least it looks nice. Lion's Bane looks shit and is shit in terms of its stats, so why would anyone use it? I certainly, well, I used it a little bit back in Try, but I developed a real distaste for it. It's just, you know, and I don't mean to demean or in any way impugn the ability or skill of the person who actually drew it for the art contest, which is what those event weapons were about back in Try. You know, that was someone who won an art contest for the weapon design, but, you know, nicely drawn, sure, but for what it was, it just wasn't attractive. Sorry, it wasn't an attractive weapon. Yeah, Eisenfaust is just a terrible greatsword. It's incredible that they literally decided, oh no, these guys don't need Lion's Bane. You know what they do need though? They need a big fucking fist that has, what, negative 60% affinity, shit sharpness, and lower raw damage than the Diablo's greatsword. That's what these guys need, and you know what they're gonna have to do to get it? They're gonna have to kill Devil Joe naked 5 times. Aren't we cool? I'm so proud to be part of Capcom. Said the absolute waste of space who came up with that idea while sitting at a table with fellow Capcom employees. Yes, I'm so glad that we work at Capcom. We're so enlightened, aren't we? Literally, what were you thinking? I mean, you could have had a fist weapon that actually dealt decent damage. How hard was that? Is it that hard to have a fucking fist weapon that deals decent damage? Just something that has this novelty appearance but actually is functional. It doesn't have to be better than, for example, the Diablo's greatsword, but for it to be so utterly inferior in every respect, and by such a significant margin, it's an insult. Because it's actually, well, is it harder to fully upgrade the Diablo's greatsword than it is to make the Eisenfaust? Probably not, but still. It is an insult. Yes, the Eisenfaust is a joke weapon. Absolutely. By the definition of it, it's a joke weapon. It looks silly, and it sucks. Technically, some joke weapons can actually be functional. They do work decently. But, look, part of what would allow something to be considered a joke weapon would be something that's really ineffectual, something that is just bad, performance-wise. That does help, you know, it's one of the criteria. And Eisenfaust fulfills the visual stupidity criterion, as well as the functionally fucking useless criterion. So the weapon is a joke weapon. Most assuredly. Yeah, the Piz-Axe isn't too bad as a joke weapon. I will always enjoy the classics, you know, the original ones, like for example the fucking Plunger Lance. And that was a first-gen weapon. Because the shield was a fucking toilet seat. I mean, how great is that? A toilet seat for a shield and a plunger for a lance. With super high water damage and then not much else. I mean, that's pretty funny. The idea that this plunger somehow has the ability to conjure unreasonable amounts of water element. Just because it happens to be used in water doesn't mean that it's going to have a water attribute. Like, what the fuck? Anyway. What was put on the board again? It was like Barioth and Diablos, I think? Whatever it was, it took place in the desert, and it did indeed involve a sand Barioth. I did not hallucinate that, so I'm going to assume ice weakness, which prompts me to bring Typhoon, I think they're called. Typhoon, yeah. These look pretty cool. Simple, but cool. I was right about the monster lineup. Good for me, I can actually read a quest on the board and then remember what it was 60 seconds later. Give me a pat on the back. I do enjoy the shark attack lands as well, it's very good. Because a similar sort of thing, instead of having a toilet seat for a shield, you've got a sign that says, don't swim here, there are sharks in the water. Or at least something that would suggest that. Don't talk to Cha-Cha. I don't want to talk to him at the best of times, but I certainly don't want to talk to him if it was my intention to do something entirely different. So, yeah, if you could possibly vacate the area, I think that would be to everyone's benefit. A super tiny Gravios where the objective was to break its belly, well that's hard. Maybe a gun would be a decent choice, but even then it would be incredibly annoying, but at least it would be doable. Is Kevin going to commit to that Diablos? Because I really don't want to fight the Diablos first. It looks like he might be coming over to where I am. We're in that moment where I could very well be outvoted by team sentiment. Looks like Tavo is coming to play with me, which is good, but I don't want to split into two teams, you see. That's never something that I enjoy doing, but oh well. If that's how they want to do it, then so be it. Yep. My eyes are very heavy at the moment. Well, I'll get through the full 2 hours, don't worry. Probably with beer left over. Again, one should have been enough for the 2 hours, but... God. There's nothing to do for a good 15 minutes and it just... You know... Get drained away. Oh, there goes that wing. I do not want a stray tornado attacking me, please. Well, if you could call it a tornado. But Twister would be more appropriate. Twister... You know, that can cover everything from a tornado to a little dust devil that's just going to give you a mild... whipping sensation around your ankles, you know. Well, Kevin has fainted. He may now be regretting his decision to split into into a group. Maybe it was I that prompted that, because I refused to leave the area with this monster. There are two reasons why. It's because first and foremost it just feels nicer to start with this monster, and second of all I don't like Diablos, so I'm going to save it for the last hunt. Well, you know, I'm not going to blame those people who are chatting in French, just chatting away. I'm not going to blame them aggressively for the fact that my time was wasted, because at the end of the day, it's not their responsibility to cater for some live streamer. I mean, especially if they don't even know. Like, they're in the game, they're playing it in the way that they enjoy it, and it's hard to... I suppose what I would say is that it's understandable that they lose themselves in the conversation and don't really consider whether or not the other guy in the room wants to hunt, but it was pretty rough to then close the room after all that. It was a case of, oh well, I'm not going to... You know, I'm gone. I don't have to sit here and watch to see what this guy does after having essentially been abandoned after displaying legendary levels of patience. Out of sight, out of mind. And what they see, or what they don't see, will not hurt them. It's a combination of both phrases, and quite frankly, I was not pleased with the outcome. My return on investment was excrement on a silver platter. Yeah, I finally ask if I can post, and they're like, yeah, just post a quest, and then I do so, and the room closes. It's like the ultimate troll. It's like a dog patiently waiting for a treat, and then the dog dares to let out a little whimper, and a treat is brought out before them, and then just when they think that they're about to get it, just gets tossed in the fucking lake or something, I don't know. It disappears from their grasp. Never to return. It is what it is. It's in the past now. I've got a good team. Got a good group. I probably would have been more annoyed about it if I weren't so tired. Sometimes if you don't have the energy to be annoyed about something, you will genuinely not feel annoyed. I was disappointed. That was definitely an emotion that was going through me. But I wasn't especially annoyed. What was that attack that he just did? Whatever. It's a little risky to heal now. And this is why. Never mind, he left, thankfully. You think that was a concerted plot to waste my time? It could be. If it were, then that's pretty fucking malicious. But yeah, unlikely. Well, thanks for the ping, Tabo, but... Oh no, I do have the bombs. That was the last time. I was getting such an acute sense of... Okay, well, fuck me sideways. What if someone... Wait, was it you who posted it? Maybe he's the quest host. If he is the quest host, then he has every right to just ignore us and capture, because, you know, if he doesn't need horns, then he doesn't need horns, but, you know, what if we need horns? He's taken matters into his own hands in a very shit-eating fashion. If I weren't so tired, I would engage in a visceral and, quite frankly, vituperative tirade against this Chaos Guard person for having done something so fucking discourteous as to totally ignore the sleep and the bomb set up on the horns and just capture the fucking monster. I mean, fucking cocksmoker. Anyway. What have we got? A whole lot of stuff that I can't put in my box because I don't want an extra stack of it. Understandably. Nice. I got one bit in return for my frustration and my displeasure. It is 1 hour and 45 minutes into the live stream, roughly. I will do probably 2 more hunts, something along those lines. I'm always happy for it to go a bit over 2 hours if 2 hours is my goal, but yeah, I'll definitely not have it be under that. I will... hold on, I don't even know who's posting anymore, so that must have been Chaos Guard. These guys should have a good sense for the order in which we're doing this by now. It's in descending order. I will be back momentarily. I'm going to take a trip to the little boy's room, to put it in mild terms. Oh, Chaos Guard has done his thing, and he is now leaving. Goodbye to you, sir. Yes, I'll be back momentarily. A request has been made in the chat for me to reveal, or at least show or demonstrate, my non-existent Lego collection. Ugh. I had Lego and Meccano growing up, but don't have any anymore. I think I must have parted ways with my Lego. God, 15 years ago. Lego is something that can be enjoyed by adults. Really. It's a perfectly respectable hobby. It's creative. It's, you know. It could be the beginning of a career in many things at a young age. But no, I don't have one. What is a little boy's room? It's where you go... Oh, I understand where this conversation developed from. I didn't actually read the whole thing, I just saw that I had been requested to show my Lego collection. Okay, I do have to be honest, I did not check to see what on earth was posted on the board. I did check, but I didn't actually look and comprehend this time. Yes, just to pull a topic out of thin air, I agree, the Lord of the Rings TV show looks like absolute anal sludge. I wouldn't touch it if it were the last thing on earth that my hand could physically feel. If that makes any sense at all. I just... why? It's so... I don't know. I am a purist when it comes to things. Like, I'm not a huge Tolkien guy, but I grew up with it, you know. So, I'm not interested, thank you. No. Peter Jackson seemed to have a good concept for what would capture the essence of Tolkien. And it was a huge responsibility, and I think, quite frankly, his ability to put that across is what gave him the success, not just in the short term when the movies were releasing, but in the long term and in cinematic history. His ability to convey that essence, not in the exact way Tolkien would have done so, because Tolkien wasn't a filmmaker, but as far as just how much was put across, I think a very good job was done. That TV show, well, let's just say it's not really worth being mentioned in the same breath as the original trilogy. I have once again forgotten what was posted, and the reason why was because I was too busy. I was given a second serious distraction, which was the mentioning of the Lord of the Rings fucking TV show. Alright, I'm going to equip a gun lance, and a gun lance that I can use irrespective of what monsters are involved. I don't want to use the poison one because I've used that recently. End of night. Let's use end of night. Yeah, end of night. If Kevin is still here, it's probably not going to be all that helpful to use end of night, but I'm doing it anyway. I don't even know if Kevin's still here at this point. Is he still here? He is. Oh, both Giganoxes. That's interesting. I don't even remember having seen that, but yes, I do see that you're right. Thank you for your attempts to bring me back to the realm of reality. I only have 48 deluxe VE tickets. No, I'm not using the switch axe. What is that? Oh right, there's a version of Dinkroll that involves black sunglasses, but from afar it actually doesn't look like black sunglasses at all. It just looks like my eyes have become these black vortexes of nothingness. And it's actually just creepy because, again, sunglasses should be pretty distinctive, but it's not what it looks like from far away. I will purchase some hot drinks. Actually, I will need them for this hunt. Not like I'll need them for this hunt. Yeah, I just perform really well in the cold. I've got that skill, whatever it is. Is it Flaming Aura? If it's not Flaming Aura, what is it? Because there was a skill called Flaming Aura back in Tri, I remember. Is that what that did? I don't know. Anyway. Potato, your grievances with the Charge Blade were entirely attributable to the fact that, A, you didn't know your head from your asshole when it came to appraising the weapon's quality. And second of all, actually that's about all there was to it. But yeah, it's a good weapon design. Good weapon type overall. And I didn't think that I would be sitting here defending the Charge Blade. I was quite averse to its introduction as well. You know, I felt that it was totally unnecessary for it to be introduced because it was so similar to the Switch Axe. Little did I know that it was an improvement on the switch axe, which almost totally illegitimized the existence of switch axe. So, yeah, that was something that I didn't truly come to understand until playing Generations Ultimate, because I had so aggressively boycotted Charge Blade in for Ultimate that I didn't really experience it in that game. I played plenty of Insect Glaive in that game, though. I was inspired by the French. Can you stop jumping around? This is not an acrobatics routine. This is you as a monster fighting hunters. You know, you're not on the Iron Horse, man. And if you are, then get the fuck off it. Please. There's some paralysis, which is only partially thanks to my contribution. Hello, Ethan. Speaking of contributions, thank you for your contribution. I don't know what people you hang around with, Ethan, but anyway, I'm not even going to go there. You definitely hang around with people, because that's not... that way of typing is not in character for you. Unless that's your idea of humour. It's very late for me, Ethan. I don't know if you have woken up after having gone to sleep. Maybe so much time has passed that, you know, you're actually awake, like this is morning for you. It's 2:33 in the morning for me, which is a lot for... Let me rephrase that. It's very late for me. There you go. It's only what I said before. It was not really in need of further clarification. It was only in need of further clarification when I sought to explain what time it was, and then singularly failed to do so. Psychostreams. Apparently Tarbo knows precisely where to go, so really I didn't need to do that. Ethan, I was just saying before that you and I, very soon, have to go live together in For Ultimate. Ideally this weekend. Obviously, under normal circumstances I would be happy to do it during the weekday. Whoever is hosting this second Giganox, quite frankly, needs to A, get off Pornhub, and then B, upgrade their dial-up broadband to something from the 21st century. That would be really helpful. Anyway, yeah, during the weekdays may not be ideal, because I think by the time I get home you're basically ready to go to bed. But on a weekend, I think that would be good, and I'd like to do that this weekend if possible. We can better coordinate things over text in the coming days. I did actually press the buttons. The button sequence required to pull the weapon out into a shield motion was performed, but it didn't happen. I do need to shield, not shield, but rather, I mean shielding helps when things get dangerous, but I need to sharpen, that's what I meant to say. Both of them start with S. One of them was required. I'm just going to get off that subject. No, I'm not doing a duo hunt with you, Nagakuga. I have to refer to you as Nagakuga. I mean, how many monsters do you refer to yourself by? Just for reference, the guy named Nagakuga in the chat calls himself Kushala in Hunsterverse. This is a person who can't even settle on the monster he wants to name himself after. That's without even considering that the person hasn't conceived of a name unique to themselves, so they just take a name from a monster in Monster Hunter. So, the question becomes, what in the precise fuck is going on with him? No, I'm rather harsh with him. You'll have to forgive me. I have my reasons. I have my reasons. Role-playing. Yes. He is an actual Nagakuga. The way he types is just exactly how Nagakuga would type if a Nagakuga were to get onto a computer and chat to me on Twitch. Very convincing role-playing. This monster host is so bad, I'm actually anticipating a disconnect from at least one person here. It looks like Tavo is the one, which seems to be correct, because I think usually it would be the blue player who hosts the second monster. I guess Tavo's connection is just really bad at the moment, for one reason or another. Yes, it gets very confusing, Tal, especially when people are listening to me referring to people in the chat. It's like, well... Anyway. It is what it is. No, it's not Nagakuga with a G, it's with a Q. You can't even get your own name right. What's going on? This host is really bad though. It's bordering upon... Did you just see that? That was some instant transmission onto the ceiling. That was nightmare fuel. Imagine if that was part of Giganox's normal movement combo. Yeah, fuck you, man. Bloody... Whoa. You don't know what's gonna happen next with Giganox. Is he going to jump on the ceiling, or is he going to make a creepy sucking maneuver on a teammate? This is some really bad stuff. Tavo, I don't even know how unstable your internet has to be to facilitate this kind of shit. That has to be his disconnect. Look at it. How the fuck has he maintained connection to this session? It really is incredible. I mean, it's almost worthy of praising, I don't know if you'd call it a netcode or... Look, I don't know much about that terminology, but whatever allows Tavo Show to maintain connection to this session really is a praiseworthy system. Or perhaps not. Maybe it's impractical to allow him to continue to hunt with us if his connection is this bad. Maybe it's because he's watching my live stream. I mean, that's... Wouldn't it be funny if it's because he's watching my live stream? He watches my VODs, I just don't know if he watches me live, but if he is watching me live, then that could be the so-called HD video or the so-called pornographic material that he's viewing that's causing this bad connection. Anything is possible. When you say you're a lawn guy, Ethan, have you employed this person to mow your lawn and he is instead just using a leaf blower inanely? Well, I think Giganox is outside of the carve zone. Is he? Oh no. That should be carvable. Yeah, it is. Prehistoric Wi-Fi. I've heard Wi-Fi be described in many ways and using many terms, but prehistoric is a new one. Wow. I don't think I'd want to experience that. The fucking saber-toothed cats connecting to the LAN server. I don't want to imagine it, quite frankly. He mowed the lawn, but he just blew the dead leaves around instead of mowing over them. Oh. Well, isn't it rather... Do you usually mow dead leaves? I mean, it's... Blowing them around is obviously unhelpful. When you describe it in those terms, that's really not going to help anyone, but... Usually when you get a leaf blower, you blow them somewhere reasonable so that they can be gathered up and then put in a bag, I don't know. Or at least you blow them somewhere well out of sight. But by the sounds of it, the guy's just... what I imagine is some guy just prancing around all these leaves floating in the air like a starstruck child. Learning about the wonders of gravity for the first time. By the sounds of it, Ethan, he doesn't seem to be doing anything too egregious. Seems perfectly reasonable. But, you know, I mean, he's mowed the lawn. That's a good start. He's using a leaf blower on dead leaves. That sounds like standard practice. And he's mulching the leaves. So, if you could further clarify your grievance, that would be mighty helpful. Unless I've missed something obvious, I don't know. Have you ever mowed his lawn? I don't know if that's a requirement to do what you're being paid to do. You literally give a guy $50. When was the last time you mowed my lawn, mate? It's like, well, I'm not sure if that's how this transaction works, logically speaking. Oh, he's not mulching them. I thought you said he was. Okay, so if he's not mulching them, and he's not properly getting rid of them, have a chat to him. Just, what you do is you approach it, first and foremost, as a question. You pose the question to him. Of, hey, what are you doing with the leaves? And then he has to provide an explanation. He's not going to stand there and say, oh, well, I'm just blowing them around. You know, sounds like a kid just doing it for fun. He would provide some explanation. And if there is a hole in his explanation, or if it is in any way unrepresentative of the reality that you have been witnessing, then you just pull him up on it and say, look, man, these leaves, they're not going anywhere. They need to go somewhere. Otherwise, you're not doing your job right. And you may be able to phrase it in a slightly more tactful way than what I just said, but, you know. Fred the Leaf Blower, Bob the Builder's cousin. It gives me great pleasure to see the name Bob the Builder and be reminded of a life that I once lived, rather than a life that I currently live. Ugh, Bob the Builder. That fucking asshole. I don't know what's going on with him, but I would guarantee that he's still hammering away. Still hammering away, that man. On something, fuck knows what. Endless home renovations on a home that looks like an ugly red brick fortress of solitude. With no artistic design incorporated in its composition whatsoever. Dark is going to post something. One would imagine. He is using full Wrath Soul Z. And it's not looking too good. Wow. Okay. I apologize for being so tired, by the way. It's... As I said, it's been a long day and it's almost 3 AM. Oh, it's 2 hours and 11 minutes since I started this live stream. This will be the last hunt, okay? Yeah, he's got a plus 13 health talisman. That's not unusual, but it's just funny to see someone using a plus 13 health talisman only to end up with 3 points for that skill. Obviously, he was using it to counteract the negative points that he was getting for health, but you know, as long as you bring it under 10 points, it's okay, man. Like, you don't have to absolutely thrash the negative points into oblivion. You can just maybe, I don't know, gem them out like a normal person and then use the talisman for a legitimate skill. I don't know, maybe a novel concept, but I don't know. I really need to turn over a new leaf and pay attention to the quests when they're posted. Oh, fuck this quest. This is my last fucking quest. At least there is a common weakness. No, there isn't even a common weakness of fire. I think the last time I did this quest I brought a heavy normal bowgun. Might bring this. Ugh. Don't fall asleep? Well, I'll do what I can. Again, as far as some of you are concerned, you know, I'm sitting here slowly falling asleep, and it's not even 3 AM and you're obviously of the opinion that I'm some kind of lightweight. Well, it's not just about time of day, it's about A, how long you've been awake, and B, sleep schedule. You know, if your body is crying out for you to go to bed, that's what you're resisting at the end of the day. Ugh. Gogmazius is an interesting elder dragon, yeah. I don't know if Gogmazius would be my favorite, but I was definitely impressed with him when he came out. He was just a very intimidating find. Very large and grand. I remember the first time I saw him in 4G. It was, at least as a first impression, just this unreasonably tall monster. I couldn't even imagine how you were supposed to fight him. He looked so tall. He wasn't too bad. Whoops. Sorry if I hit you there, Dark, but... yeah, this Arzuros is not going to last very long at all. Oh, have to get in position for the head. There you go. Next monster should be Rathian. We need to go to the spawning point for her. Tavo's connection is really, really bad today. This is not typical of him. If it were, I would have worked it out by now. His connection is really fucking bad. He's teleporting in a way that I just don't often see at all, especially not in this game. It's awful. Oh, fucking hell. Sorry for the yawning. For anyone else who is rather tired, I'm sure it can't be all that helpful for me to be sitting here yawning. After this recording, though, I'm going to pass the fuck out, as they say. Can I get my KO, please? I should. There you go. I got what I rightfully deserve. Beautiful damage there. Oh, that tail still got me. Yeah. I'll do a golf swing here. Just seeing this monster with this music screams Portable Third in a way that almost makes it hard for me to believe that I'm playing 3 Ultimate. I'm going to assume that it was the slime damage that did that one. If it were my attack, that would be crazy. But I don't think so. I don't think so. That doesn't sound quite right. Poor girl indeed. Duramboros is next. He will no doubt take a little bit more of a beating than her. But it still shouldn't take too long. So Tavo's running effectively support with a paralysis longsword. I'm obviously going heavy damage. What is Dark doing? He is bringing a basic general use weapon, or at least what is in his mind a general use weapon. It's really not. It's a weapon that should be used against monsters that are weak to dragon, of which only one exists in the lineup for these monsters, although I cannot say whether dragon is especially ineffective against, say, Duramboros. Could be a secondary or tertiary weakness, I don't know, but... Oh, hello. The trap's a little bit off target. I only put the bombs down where the trap happened to be. I guess it was a mistake to trust Tavo after all. There you go, that's what I want to see. That's satisfying. Sorry if I upswing you. Really, I'm sorry. I can't control it. The responsibility is too great. The power in my hands is beyond my ability to control it. The good thing about playing Portable Third chronologically was that you would have played Try first, and so Portable Third's content level was really refreshing after Try. Because when Try came out, and you saw that there were only 18 monsters, and you played that game and you realised just how lacking the content was, you have to understand, because it was the newest game, no one had any way of knowing if this was going to be the new normal for Monster Hunter. I think everyone recognised that Try was built from the ground up, and it was a lot of work that had obviously gone into it. And it looked so beautiful. More beautiful than anything that had been released for Monster Hunter thus far. But unfortunately, just that awful lack of monsters and lack of things to do in the game was something that almost, maybe not for everyone, but certainly for some people, counteracted the positive aspects of try to the point where, look, I think everyone was hoping that whatever would come next would have a better lineup than that. And Portable Third did. I think Portable Third had, you know, almost double, perhaps more than double the monsters that Try had. Which was very welcome. There were a number of unique monsters, there were many returning monsters, and certainly from my perspective, Portable Third had plenty of content. Back then also, Freedom Unite was a bit of an outlier in terms of content. It was really the only game that had just a shitload of monsters. Games like 4 Ultimate and Generations Ultimate coming out later obviously had an influence on the norm when they came out, but if they didn't exist yet, there was no such concept of what was normal. I mean, it was really considered that Freedom Unite was the last hurrah of second gen, so we understood that there were going to be a lot of monsters in that game. You can see that I'm not especially committing to KO damage on this monster, and the reason why is because the head, I believe, even with impact damage, is not an especially weak part of the monster. Oh shit. Well, these lovely cans, I mean, aside from... Not only do they look amazing, but fuck, they sound amazing when you open them. It's ridiculous. It's almost like... I didn't even know cans could sound so good when you open them. Crazy. We'll see what we get in the rewards. I'm just going to assume, because I'm overconfident, that we're going to get a Rathian Mantle. Nope. Got a True Armor Sphere though. Yeah, my 7th True Armor Sphere. Nice. I do have a sneaking suspicion that I am accidentally selling True Armor Spheres. I don't know why. I don't know how I could possibly be doing something so foolish, but I think it is happening. That is my shortest Arzuros. I didn't even realize he was that small. It's my second, or I suppose at least my second, Gold Crown small Arzuros. That was also an exceptionally large Duramboros. That was my largest Duramboros that I've fought. What is going on? Something about this quest was special. It's a shame I didn't really pay much attention to it. Anyway, thank you all for joining me this evening. I need to head off to bed. I thank you all for watching. I'll try to record again sometime soon. I will bid you all farewell for now. Dark is waving. Oh, he said he has to go. So, yes, goodbye. Anyway, Dark is now also waving to Tabo Show. But, yeah, once again, I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye for now.